UN 영어뉴스 The colored stripes that explain climate change. In 2017, Ellie Haywood, then professor of climate physics at the University of Reading, posted a photograph on Twitter of a global warming blanket she had crocheted. In its rows of color represented average global temperature changes across time. She had no idea that a graphic version later, created by a colleague, would become a global symbol of climate change. The climate stripes image has been embraced by activists globally and used as a cover image for Greta Thunberg's The Climate Book, as well as for print editions of The Economist and the Folha de São Paulo, a Brazilian newspaper. The stripes have been worn in London Fashion Week catwalks and as part of the UK football team Reading FC's players' uniform. The stripes have been displayed as public infrastructure on public transport in Europe, decorated buildings, and even natural landmarks, such as the White Cliffs of Dover in England. Recently, they were shown in a 3-day music festival in Mexico City. The warming stripes have been used to decorate public transport such as electric trams and buses in countries including the UK and Germany. Cycling for Climate, a foundation that has organized rides in 6 countries to promote climate change awareness, chose the stripe pattern as a uniform because of the strong message it conveys. It gives me the feeling that even when I'm exercising, I'm working on increasing climate change awareness, says co-founder Joost Brinkman, based in the Netherlands. I frequently get asked about the shirt because people like the design. It's an easy conversation starter and people are always shocked when they understand the story. Unlike traditional data visualizations, the blanket's pattern only features colors and resembles a barcode more than a normal graph. Some people switch off as soon as they see a graph, right? Says Haywood. In her blog, she shared instructions to replicate the blanket using yarn or other materials. The craft version does something different. If you are physically reproducing the pattern, you are internalizing the data, and there's more chance you will feel that it's real. When Ed Hawkins, climate scientist and professor at the same university, saw the climate stripes and witnessed people's reactions, he thought they would be a good way to visualize the data from climate change online. He reduced the range of colors to tones of blues and reds, universally associated in weather maps with temperature. In 2020, Cycling for Climate rode for 400 km along the future Dutch coastline, using their climate stripes jerseys as a conversation starter. A year later, looking for a simple way of communicating with a non-scientific audience, Hawkins tested the design at the Hay Festival in the UK. After a positive reception, he embarked on a mission to make the climate stripes widely accessible and launched a website for people to customize the graphic to their location. Within a week, the site had more than 1 million downloads from across 180 countries. Part of tackling the issues we face is to normalize this topic as a part of our everyday conversations, like we talk about the economy, healthcare, or politics, says Hawkins. Bernadette Uzpreki, chief meteorologist at Climate Central, an organization that communicates climate change science and solutions. Both saw the stripes on a Facebook group of TV meteorologists and reporters in 2018, when a weather presenter in the network printed the design on a tie to wear on TV and asked if anybody else wanted to join. She saw an opportunity for the community to collaborate. They partnered with Hopkins University's the World Meteorological Organization (WMO) and others, and had a WhatsApp group with TV weather presenters from more than 100 countries. Soon the campaign went global. Climate change is the biggest challenge of our time, and there is no one way to answer this. The fact that this resonates across such a variety of audiences, that is what's more important to me, says Woods Prack. October 2023 was the warmest on record globally, and 2023 is virtually certain to be the warmest year on record. A 2023 Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change (IPCC) report concluded that human activities, mainly through emissions of greenhouse gases, have caused global warming, increasing the likelihood and intensity of extreme weather events. Climate change can be a really tough subject, but people see these straps and they get excited. There's something about them and that is inspiring and uniting. You see energy build in a positive way, says Woods Prack. For Amanda McCulloch, Executive Director of the Data Visualization Society (DVS), the warming stripes are just another way of presenting data. McCulloch believes that what makes them special is that they have taken on a life of their own. Anybody can use the pattern in imaginative ways, helping them connect with the message. McCulloch views artistic or physical representations of information as a way to make it less daunting. It can make the data seem less technical and allows us to look at the big picture and reflect, she adds. Although it's impossible to isolate or measure the effect of a single campaign on climate policies and negotiations around the world, some experts believe that the climate stripes may have contributed to generating attention for rising temperatures. U.S. senators have worn them as pins, and French members of the ecologist group had them on their shirts. Whilst speaking in Parliament, Gabriel Boric, now Chile's president, wore them as a face mask during the final debate before the elections. The stripes have also had significant international exposure in recent COP Conference of the Parties climate events. Confirms Jean-Pascal Van Ypersel, scientist and former IPCC vice chair, hopes gather government representatives, the general public, the media, and activists from hundreds of nations. He recently wore his climate stripes tie during a meeting with the COP28 president. When you don't have a PowerPoint presentation software, it's a visually powerful way to spread the message of the rapid evolution of global temperature, says Van Ypersel. Hopkins hoped the climate stripes visual would spark curiosity in people and start conversations about rising temperatures. However, Van Ypersel observed that in other settings, the graphic is not always understood. Sometimes people come up to me and say, "Oh, you have a nice tie," and then I see they don't get it, he adds. So whenever he wears the tie, he is always prepared to offer an explanation about its meaning, as well as the causes and the effects of climate change, and what we can do to slow it down. The graphic has also faced some backlash, mainly from the scientific community, says Hawkins, for being too simple. I certainly have had criticism, because you can't see the details, the numbers. I think that's fair. There's no one way of presenting this in a way that is easily understandable and gives everyone all they want from a graph. It is only one from a wide range we can draw on to talk to different audiences about the same issue, says Professor Hawkins. Although the climate stripes have become popular in North America and Europe, this is not necessarily the case in other regions. Habiba Outdagashi, who researches technology and policy for climate change mitigation and clean energy across Africa, says that in Nigeria, they are only recognized by people familiar with climate science. I'm not sure it would be recognizable to even all environmental activists or civil society without explanations. The warming stripes may not necessarily be the solution, but perhaps they represent a first step in recognizing the problem, especially when misinformation is abundant. Climate change has been a very political change, and if the stripes have opened the doors to start those conversations, I can't think of a better impact, says Macrae.